Hello everyone, you have Royce here and welcome to our channel Sansevieria 101. So for this episode, we are going to feature the inflorescence or flower bloom coming from the cultivar of trifasciatas named Bantel sensation. Later on, we'll be discussing the origins of the cultivar and its characteristics, but right now we're focusing on empathizing or showing the inflorescence or flower bloom. Right now it's the budding stages. We're at day 1 approximately. These are the earlier days of how the budding stages looks like, or how the bud would look like, wherein it is still in a ball-like form, wherein the skins would start to be left out on the lower portions of the flower stalk. As you can see, some of the budding skins as the flower stalk grows would be left out on the bottom portion of the flower stalk. They're known as stalk bracts, and we are currently at day 6, and you would notice that the flower tubes are becoming more evident, and some of the bracts are growing together with the flower tubes as well. They are known as flower bracts. So as the days goes further, we are at day 9th. Most of the flower tubes are becoming noticeable, and they are growing apart from each other. We are at day 11th. The inflorescence, or the flower stalks rather, has grown significantly in height, and as the days goes by, it will reach the maximum height to where it will stop on growing, and then that's where the flower tubes would elongate, and they would be reaching to about 0.75 to an inch in length. So currently day 14th, I think the flower stalk is still growing in height, and it will take a couple more days for the flower stalk itself to reach the maximum height, and then we will be seeing that the flower tubes would start to elongate. This is day 17th. I think the flower tubes are starting to elongate, and then day 18th, I think the flower stalk has reached its maximum height. So after reaching the maximum height, the flower tubes would also start to elongate, and they would grow to about 0.25 to an inch, and I think we are close to the blooming stages. We're still on the budding stages, day 22nd, and then going to day 23rd. I think this is where the flower buds on the lower portion started to open up. Day 24th, more of the flower buds have opened up, and we are at the blooming stages. And I'm also showing you a picture of the fruit, how the fruit looks like, or the berry looks like, for the trifasciata Bantel sensation. As you can see, the fruit is variegated. If you're aware that the fruits of Sansevieria can also variegate, I have shown you a picture of it. And next will be I'm showing you a video clip of the blooming stages, wherein we're going to focus and we're going to describe the characteristics of the inflorescence. So like I mentioned, the topmost portion, they're having one bud, as I'm saying, that is attached to the flower stalk. And as I go down and show you, the number of flower tubes would increase. I think I have noted that the flowers per cluster, this is, by the way, a clustered type of inflorescence, and like I mentioned, the type of inflorescence is raceme. That's the correct pronunciation of this kind of flower stalk formation or inflorescence of trifasciatas. They are called raceme, not raceme. Like I mentioned before, I checked and they were pronounced as raceme. So, like I mentioned, the topmost portion would grow about one flower bud that is attached to the flower stalk. Then as we go down, the maximum flowers that can grow on the clusters are is 6. So it's 6. The flowers per clusters is measured or known as 6 to 1. Flower tubes, like I mentioned, they are 0.25 to an inch. That is the metrics I'm using because it's easier for me to figure out what the size of an inch is. And then the flower stalk height would be at 17 to 18 inches. By the way, the color of the buds would be greenish, and the color of the flowers itself is white. So there again, I'm showing you the topmost portion wherein it can grow just one bud attached to the flower stalk, and on the middle part you would be seeing 5 to 6 flowers in a cluster, and that is how the flowers looks like. Alright folks, so we're on the second part wherein I promised to discuss the origins of the Sansevieria trifasciata Bantel sensation. So again, we are featuring the species trifasciata, and what you're seeing right now is the cultivar of Bantel sensation. So for everyone's information, Bantel sensation was introduced by Gustav E. Bantel. That's where the Bantel name came from. It's the surname of Gustav, and it is called Bantel's sensation. Gustav E. Bantel, by the way, is from St. Louis, Missouri, and a patent was issued stating that this cultivar is a sport of Laurenti, but I doubt about it, as I have seen most patents with errors on them. For example, the patent of Yellowstone and the patent of Lauren, you will notice that the species aren't supposed to be what's stated on the patent. So going back though, I'm showing you a clump of my trifasciata Bantel sensation. It is a cultivar of the trifasciata species, and let me move back so you can see my clump of Bantel sensation. I would say that this is a super clump, and as I move back you will see how tall my Bantel sensation is. Alright, I think this is the farthest that I can go back so you can see how tall my Bantel sensation clump is. Actually, I have here with me always my trusty 24-inch ruler, so I'm going to make my 24-inch ruler stand on the pot. Give me a second, folks. I'll find the spot where in the ruler, my 24-inch ruler can stabilize itself so you can see, or I'll just hold it, but it's kind of hard for me to move back and show you how tall it is. There you go, I was able to find a spot where I can stick the 24-inch ruler, and I'll move back again so you can see how tall the Sansevieria trifasciata Bantel sensations or my clump is. So like mentioned, we are discussing a full-size trifasciata. So they are trifasciatas that in my definition would grow more than 2 feet. So the length of my ruler, like I mentioned, is 24-inch. That's 2 feet, and what you can see is I have stuck the 24-inch ruler on the base of the pot where the Bantel grows, and you will see that one of the leaf or some of the leaves would grow more than 2 feet. Might be 2.5 feet, I think. I've never seen Bantel Sensation grow more than 3 feet, but like I said, we're discussing full size, so it might reach 3 feet. What I'm showing you right now, though, is my Bantel Sensation clump growing more than 2 feet. 2 feet is my definition of a trifasciata, wherein it's classified with being a full size, classified of being a mid-size or compact, classified as a short leaf or dwarf. So there, this is the clump, and I'm going to take out the ruler. Like I mentioned, Bantel Sensation, folks, is a type of full-size trifasciata. What's different from it from the previous full sizes is that the Bantel Sensation or the Bantel Sports, they are trifasciatas that are having narrow leaves. So this is my hand, and these are how narrow the leaves are. I actually have another tool here to measure the width of this plant. This is my tool. I just bought another one. My first one was broken. This one, though, is new. Bought it from Japan. However, the only problem is it will measure only in millimeters. So anyway, we'll just convert. So I'm going to measure one of the leaves. We'll find one leaf here, the widest that I can find. Alright, hold on, let me measure. I usually measure in inch, but what my instrument has is just the scale of millimeters. So right now we are having it at 38.1 millimeters. So if you convert that to inches, I would say it's 1.5 inch. The normal full-size trifasciatas, they would grow to the leaf width of 2 to 3 inches, I would say. But right now, it's the Bantel line. They are trifasciatas that are narrow leaf, so the leaves would just have the width of around 1.5 inch, or like I measured, it's 38.1 millimeters. So I'll focus on the characteristics of my Bantel Sensation. So as I move closer, you find the center of the leaf to have white variegations. Then you will have the normal base color of the leaf, which is trifasciata pattern. They are just located on the edges. We'll check the other leaves. Same. I think the white variegation overlaps the base coloration of the trifasciata's common pattern or base coloration. So this is how my Bantel Sensation clump looks like. To describe the variegations on them, the variegations would be located on the centermost part of the leaves, centermost parts. Then it will overlap the base coloration of the Sansevieria trifasciata Bantel Sensation. So as to leaf tip, that's how the leaf tip of Bantel Sensation looks like. It's a bit longer compared to the normal trifasciata leaf tips that you will find, but for sure they are trifasciata leaf tips. As you can see on mine, some of the leaf tips are damaged because they are trifasciata, so the leaf tips would easily get damaged. And the texture of the Bantel sensation is quite unique because I can feel the ridges when I feel the leaf, the leaf horizontally. So there's like ridges on them. They're not as smooth as you can touch like the other trifasciatas on the back part or the actual part. It's still the same. I feel like there are vertical ridges that I can feel them by feeling horizontally through my fingers. So compared to a normal trifasciata, I guess leaf texture, you can feel some ridges on the leaves that are horizontal. Aside from that, everything else is trifasciata except for the, like mentioned, the leaf width and the tips are kinda more prominent or longer compared to normal trifasciata. So those are the characteristics of the Bantel line. The variegations we have already discussed. The variegations are white. I don't have any yellow variegations found on my Bantel sensation. I have heard that there is another sport of Bantel sensation wherein it has yellow variegations aside from white, but what I have are just white variegations on my Bantel sensation. Another tip would be always look at this part. Hold on, let me focus, or let me find another leaf where I can have an example. Alright, so this is one of the example of the tips or a tip or a care tip that I'm going to give you. Always look for this spot in here. These are where the aphids could easily hide, so you have to check on the leaves if aphids would be proliferate on those part of the leaf tips. Here's another one, that part over there wherein it's like a leaf canal. That's where the pests hide, and you have to check them occasionally if there are aphids hiding on that part of the leaf. So aside from that, I think we have covered everything about trifasciata Bantel sensation, and the next episodes that we are going to feature, they will be of the Bantel sensation line. So they are trifasciatas, like I mentioned, that are narrow leaf in size, but they are full size as well. So it's hard to classify trifasciatas because you cannot easily just say that there are three sizes of trifasciatas, namely full size, medium size or compact, or the short leaf size, because you will encounter very unique trifasciatas, and I will try my best to feature what I mentioned. I will show you some very unique trifasciata mutations that you might not have encountered yet. So I guess this is it for this episode, everyone. If you like the content, please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you, everyone.